So, thank you everybody for tuning back in. This is I'm all fucked up because I'm trying to start over.
Just start from the beginning. Just scrap the whole thing.
Yeah, well, everything is scrapped, and the reason why is because Jim accidentally hit pause on the recording. So here we go.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to another episode of Server Restart In. It is a weekly World of Warcraft podcast hosted by three opinionated players who like to get together to discuss their thoughts about the current state of the game. My name is Jim, joined by Kristen.
Hello.
And Brian.
Hello, Kristen.
Thanks, Brian. And we're going to go ahead and pretend this is the first time I told you guys this tonight, but there's been a huge ban wave in Wrath of the Lich King Classic.
What?
Yeah. 120,000 accounts were banned for something.
Jim, was that accounts or players?
It was accounts, not characters, but accounts.
Holy moly.
I know, it's crazy. And they're rolling.
Are they selling those accounts, Jim?
I have no idea what they're doing. They didn't go into details. But I also do know that they are restoring the original Wrath of the Lich King level 55 restrictions on new accounts, meaning you can't make a Death Knight until you have a character level 55 on a server. Because people were abusing the system.
Oh my god!
I know it sounds like
And something they shouldn't do carrots and potatoes and
no farming. Farming's bad.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
everybody's gonna get banned when they do Pandaria Classic. We're rehashing all the stuff we talked about.
I think we did it.
Nobody heard it except for us.
I know, that's why we're saying it again.
They're not going to get any of the content.
But we're not getting the proper reactions. Man, I feel like such an idiot.
We only do this for our dedicated 20.
Hey, we got people that listen. That's all that matters, right?
Yeah.
That's true.
So.
And we love it.
Yeah, thank you guys. It's a pleasure to see those numbers go up on the days when people listen. So.
Wow.
Well, no, I mean, it's
on
like
the days
it's not every day. There are days where there are no downloads. I mean, that's just kind of how it is when you're a small and upcoming, 120 something episode podcast that, doesn't advertise and all that stuff. So, hey, if you guys are out there listening to this and you think you have a friend that would enjoy listening to it, feel free to share it with them.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, it'll be great. Yeah.
Come on, we're WoW players. We don't have friends. What are you talking about?
Oh.
Aww.
Just spam links on your servers.
No, do not.
Go into trade chat.
Not okay. No, please do not do that. Oh my god. Unless you want to get banned, because I guess Blizzard, they'd.
I don't know. I mean, you could just post about it and say, "Hey, did you guys listen to the new episode of Server Restart In?"
That's why. So you did this whole distributed linking thing, and they all got banned together. Jim, good job. Way to just DDoS all the bots. There's some backwards hacking thing going on. Farming.
What?
Oh, is that what I did? I have no idea.
I don't know. What did you do?
I don't think I did anything. I think Brian just thinks he's funny.
Oh. Brian, do you think you're funny?
Not really.
I think he's funny.
Oh.
So,
not really.
When I figured out what was going on, we were talking about the official 10.0.7 patch notes for Dragonflight. Comes out in about 5 days, March 21st. We're going back to the Forbidden Reach. The Drakthir starting area. Storm's cleared.
We're going back to it. I've never been there.
You created a Drakthir, so don't lie to me.
Sure, but my druid has never been there.
You don't know that.
I mean, I do.
Maybe your druid's secretly a dragon and you just don't know.
Ugh. Yeah. Like I wasn't excited for that to happen when they announced dragons, and then they just snatched that away.
Drakthir, though.
You know how they
I know.
You know how they retconned or basically said that night elves are just trolls. Well, all the races are really just dragons. So they just haven't retconned it into the lore yet.
What a sad evolution.
Maybe.
To go from a dragon to a troll.
To a night elf.
A night elf. No, to an elf, then a night elf. And some went to be a naga. Oh, man.
Yeah, those were the
what
high
a
elves.
Tragic lineage. That sucks.
Like, dang. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to be a night elf at some point.
Yep.
Yeah.
We talked about the new monk races, Lightforged, Deny, Worgen, and Goblin. They're getting their punch and kick on. So they'll be doing all that stuff. There's some a new faction.
Getting their punching kick on.
Punch and kick on.
I don't have enough energy.
That's what all my characters always say.
Fucking goblins. Like, hey, I'm afraid I can't do that right now. I ain't got the chi.
Wow.
Oh yeah, that chi. They don't have energy. That's rogues. Rogues have energy.
Yeah.
There's gonna
Not
be
my rogue.
Yeah.
My rogue doesn't
can we
have energy.
Can we spend 2 minutes and just complain about like how much the world wanted goblins and they delivered the wrong goblins to us?
Why? Because they gave us a different cartel, or because it wasn't like Tolkien goblins?
It just wasn't the it wasn't the goblins that we saw in the game. It was just.
I mean, welcome to
super rehash
like
and
every game ever. Like they never give you the stuff that's in the game. Nautilons and Star Wars.
Yeah,
I'm still butthurt over that. Like they 100%.
But this one sucked though. Like goblins were everywhere, and people wanted to be goblins. But even then, though, there wasn't even female goblins in the game before they came out with the race.
I don't remember.
But I remember wanting to be a goblin, and then they came out with them, and then I did not want to be a goblin. It was, I don't know. It's too kooky for me. I don't know. Yeah. It was funny and silly at first, but then like way too kooky.
But you got a gang and a car that you could drive around with and honk the horn.
I did enjoy that. I'm not gonna lie.
Really?
In the starting zone. Yeah. Why don't we go back there? Just because the volcano erupted,
didn't it?
I mean, come on.
We're what, like the big hole blew up, and aren't we going back there?
The maelstrom. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's like there's still stuff there. But so they're bringing in that Winterpelt Furbolg faction, the one that's currently, I think, in Azure Span. Can't understand them right now, so we're gonna play Linguist and help crack that code. There's going to be some Bane Bloodhoof lore stuff out in the Nara Plains, new faction envoys, so you can pick a specific one of the 4 main factions, get some extra rep, do some quests and all that stuff, earn tokens or whatever for some dragon riding customizations, a battle pet, and a mount. You can pick a different one every day, so you're not locked into it for like a week or anything like that. We talked about how Heritage Armor is coming out, but it's still not undead. And then Brian was saying that we should just delete the undead because, I mean, they obviously hate them.
They had reasons. You just kind of skipped the whole point. Like, you missed the whole point of it, that is.
What was the whole point?
I love undead. I said I loved undead a lot. And I cannot believe the way they would treat the undead. And blah, blah, blah. Their stuff looks good. I really wish that they would just do undead. And I didn't understand, like, why
they
would never do undead.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Undead have been in there since the beginning, right?
I know.
And it's like, they should. I mean, there's so much cool aesthetic with the undead.
Yeah, I don't know what's taking
Is
them
there
so long.
Panda Heritage Armor?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
That'll be next. And it'll look like every fucking tier set they've ever made for a monk.
Yeah. Let's see. We can look and see which ones we got. We have all the allied races, so Dark Iron.
Oh, you're just
Dwarf.
going to rub it in. I see what you're doing.
Well, I'm just going to see which ones are left. So out of the main races, there's Blood Elf, Dwarf, Gnome, Goblin, Tauren, and Worgen. So then you add Human and Orc to that. That's pretty much just going to leave Night Elves and Undead, right? I don't think there's any other ones. Those are the main ones, right?
Dude, the little
and Troll.
fox,
there's no
the
Troll.
Little fox people.
Well, yeah, all the allied races already have it.
They all came on. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So we don't have Troll. We don't have Undead, and we don't have Night Elf. I'm trying to think of the other, if there's another alliance race. Draenei. There's no Draenei. So there's only 4 left after this. So you have a 50-50 shot of Undead being in the next set.
Yay.
So,
I mean, they'll be on version 2 for everybody else by then anyways.
yeah, we'll hit him up in the 3rd pass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of sucks.
It does suck, especially if that's like what you main and you like. You know what I mean? It's like, I got a lot of Undead characters. I got like 4 of them.
Oh, I'm going to be pissed whenever they actually do it and it looks like shit. Like,
has there been a Heritage armor that looks like shit?
I'm sure, right? Like,
I mean,
let me go past judgment.
I mean, I guess it's
here. I can send you the link. It already has it all on it. So.
It's a subjective thing. Some people,
Sure.
Did the Night Elves get Heritage armor?
Completely though.
Night Elves don't have it yet.
Oh, that's what I was asking. If they had
it. I said no.
Okay.
Void Elves look like shit.
Do they?
Oh yeah.
Did the Void Elves get Heritage armor?
Oh yeah, they got that stupid like Void Wing type stuff.
Oh yeah, but that's not Heritage armor, right?
Yes, it is.
That was Heritage. Mm-hmm. So they gave Void Elves Heritage armor before they gave
all
Night Elves Heritage.
Well, see, Void Elves have a long heritage you need to respect, okay?
All allied races
very long heritage
were released with Heritage armor. So they already all have it. The Mecha Gnome one's kind of dumb.
Worgen have it.
No, yes.
Yes, but that came out.
Worgen came out a while ago.
Yeah.
Dwarf one looks kind of dumb.
No.
I mean, it makes him look too much like the cartoon ones from like the Lost Vikings, right?
Yeah, you're right.
It's kind of goofy looking.
That's awesome. I like it.
It's kind of goofy
Volpera looks dumb as hell, though. Dumb as hell. So yeah,
I think I have the Volpera one.
The Goblin one's pretty dumb too, honestly.
From my perspective, yeah, I'm gonna say at least 4. I think are underwhelming.
But there are probably some people that really like them. So I mean,
I'm sure they are. Like, I mean, they're wrong, but I'm sure there is.
But I mean, it's not like they're underwhelming. Is not like the same thing as complete trash.
Well, it's not, right? But obviously my point is, and two, like, these are taking so fucking long to come out that just like other sets that, become badass, then go away, that over time, like, their design, their animations, they all kind of fade out of the current effort level, right? So,
I feel like they should have given all the all of the Heritage armor animations.
Right.
Like,
kind of like the
make it so
stuff.
You're like, you want to wear that heirloom armor. You're like,
I'd really like to know what their core mission was for Heritage armor. Honestly, I
think what it was intended as a way to reward people for playing an allied race. Play an allied race, level it up, get it to max, get the armor. Maybe, I don't know. But
I don't know.
Undead being the last does give them a bit of a benefit. And the benefit is the design for the armor and all that stuff is getting better, right? Like, if you look at some of the stuff that's been designed and all that stuff, and I don't know if it's necessarily like the animation that's available, whatever, but there's a higher chance of it being a way higher quality.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I mean, the trade-off is that you wait.
Yes. And it's probably not.
So, like, we're going on 5 years now?
I don't know.
The end of Legion, right? The end of Legion where the races were. Yeah,
that was when that started. So,
well, I mean, basically 5 years because BFA came out in August of 2018. So, that's a really long time to wait. So, I mean, obviously it's not prioritized. It probably shouldn't be. Like, as pretty as Dragonflight was, you know, they had their priorities right. Minus COVID, Shadowlands look like shit. So that's fine.
We didn't get the mall rat.
You should have made armor when you were making shit environments. So thank you for that. But yeah, I mean, and that's the thing too. You look at the Volpera, right? I think it looks underwhelming, but the reality is, it's the attention to detail throughout the entire kit is amazing.
Yeah.
Right, all the little knickknacks, the bags, the shoulders are so unique and really cool. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of. I hope that what Undead gets is more of a treatment, like a Lordaeron type of lore treatment in the gear that they have. You know,
I would hope so. I would hope that it is Lordaeron based, because most of the Forsaken are prior Lordaeron citizens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so I don't know. I mean, maybe there's something to it, but you know, trolls don't have anything yet,
right? But it's probably going to look like the Dark Spear revolutionary armor from the end.
Yeah, I was going to say they're gonna make it very like tribally and stuff, and it's, I don't know, whatever.
Voodoo mask.
It's like the Zandalari stuff. It's
okay.
I mean, I get it from like the perspective of the race, but you know, there was a lot there in Zandalar they could have
drawn from
a lot more. Yeah. So, because I mean, you look at the dwarf. I mean, I don't know. Sorry, I can complain. You know, I can complain all day.
You can go ahead.
You know, I mean, it's just. Yeah, it's funny because I like the orc heritage armor, but I don't really think that it's reflective of what orc heritage armor should be.
Well, see, that's kind of the problem with the Maghar. When they did the Maghar, it's like it was very orcish, and then they had it in 4 different colors for the clan. So they had like a frost wolf and all that stuff. So this heritage armor is meant more so probably to be Azerothian orcs.
They did take a few cues from it, though, didn't they? I just now noticed that. Like the shins, knees, and boots are all kind of the same layout.
Right. You know, and if you... Which
really sucks, because, I mean, the perspective of the Maghar orc from where they come from, of the you know, the WoD era of the Iron Horde, this makes sense. But the orcs I would have expected more so to reflect, you know, the classic Warcraft style. I mean, do you know what I mean? Like the box set, like looking.
I mean, the male armor kind of does. It's got that red paint on it, but they just like strapped a skull to it.
Yeah, they nailed the red paint. The red, yes, they nailed the red, but they missed the rest. The funny thing is, like those shoulder pads are in classic somewhere that you can get, like Zulfaric or something like that. You can get the one because one's bigger than the other. But the reality is, they should have took that as like a baseline and then scaled into it from there. And took a lot of inspiration.
Well, these are also mock-ups, so I mean, these might not be exactly what the finished product looks like. You know, these don't necessarily look directly.
Is this 10.1 stuff or is it 10.07?
10.07. You'll know in.
Oh yeah, no, this is not mock-up. This is real stuff. Then
no. I know that, but I mean, like the pictures that they're showing in the patch notes.
Is 10.07 coming out in 5 days?
Yes.
What is in 10.07 again?
That's what we're talking about. Everything we have talked about right now. These are the patch notes for 10.07.
Does she know we're recording?
Yes. Hey, we're recording. This is live on the podcast.
Listen, I'm busy trying to navigate the Azure span while picking flowers on my stupid drake.
It was hilarious. Thank you.
So
no problem. I am the comic relief. Yes.
So Recruit a Friend is getting an update. It's getting some it looks like there's a shredder mount with like red orc armor on it.
Huh.
Dun, dun, dun.
Huh.
But in like the gear set stuff looks very like Goblin Rocketeer type stuff. If anybody remembers that movie from way back in the day about a guy like the Rocketeer.
Oh,
he had like that helmet and jetpack that he found and all that stuff, and it became good thing.
I don't know it.
We can watch it. It's good. They're adding flying in Battle for Azeroth Zone, so they're taking away the Pathfinder requirement for that. About time, because whatever. They're adding new hair colors for humans and orcs, like blues and greens and pinks and purples. Nothing for undead.
Tell me you're not inclusive without telling me you're not inclusive.
Undead don't get to dye their hair because
it's already dead.
I mean, everybody's hair is already dead.
Listen, Linda.
Your hair is dead.
I know.
It's so dead.
There's a bunch of class changes. Let's see. New dragon riding stuff. We talked about that last week. The ground skimming stuff to help.
We'll see if it helps.
Oh, there's a couple of traits. One is called aerial halt, which flap back, reducing forward movement.
Yeah, but if you just fall, then
no. So like if you're going too fast, you can stop, and it says act. And there's another trait that says activating that while affected by Thrill of the Skies will give you a vigor. So like if you're going real fast and you see something you want to stop and you hit that, you automatically get a vigor. I guess to make up for what you would generate doing the stuff. More manuscripts going with it, and more racing and all that stuff. Fix an issue with the shadow form and Glyph of the Stars visuals.
Wait, what?
It says fix an issue where player spell visual effects such as shadow form and Glyph of the Stars moonkin form were being applied on the dragon while customizing in the rostrum.
Oh. Okay.
So, yeah.
I don't use Glyph of the Stars right now. I will when I am when I'm a night elf.
Okay.
But
they are reducing the elemental storms. So there's only going to be one around.
Oh.
They're removing certain areas. So like Dragonbane Keep won't have one anymore. They're making a bunch of changes to that. Let's see. Orc, Tauren, and High Mountain Tauren Priest NPCs are now... Okay, so they're putting in the NPCs back for the new Priest classes. Let's see. Blah. New item, NPC item upgrade person put in Valdrakken. That's for the new system. And then, so let's see. Some more items and stuff. And a bunch of other like PvP things. Nothing, profession changes.
Ugh.
No, the profession pain has been reduced in size.
Profession pain has not been reduced. Trust me.
Okay, that's a different pain. That was good. Yeah, I get it. You're talking about like ouchie pain instead of like window pain.
Yes.
Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. Adding some more interface stuff. They're going to tell you how many catalyst charges you have now.
I mean, I feel like that should have been in from the beginning. Who made that interface and was like, nobody cares how many charges they actually have. Let's just show them what it costs. Like, how? I don't know how that gets past them.
So
it
says that they added a tag in the chat typing bar to tell players what language they are typing in if they are not typing in Common or Orcish. So is Common and Orcish the main faction default languages?
I think so.
Probably.
And I thought there was no way to change your language anymore. I thought we looked at that and couldn't find it. Because, like, gutter speak. You know what I mean?
I think they took out gutter speak, didn't they?
I mean, if there's a reason to put in a tag to tell you what language you're typing in, it would stand to reason that there would be more languages. To me, gonna have to find out. But yeah, so 5 days, bunch of stuff coming. It'll be fun. Let's see what else. There's some FAQ stuff on the new system. I'll dive into that. That's a lot. I didn't read it beforehand like I should have. But anyway, they did put a post up there. We can look at that. That's for 10.1 though, so it's not coming in the next one. But there was something I did want to talk about. I think this kind of lent itself to a larger discussion about raids and raid mechanics and whatnot.
Oh, this is going to be a long one.
Yes. So the people behind the WeakAuras add-on have reported that in 10.1, Blizzard has the ability to restrict certain spells and mechanics from being solved by add-ons while retaining customization options for players. So this is kind of a two-part thing. So they're not completely blocking certain things from add-ons, but they are blocking parts of it. So typically there's a lot of, like, there's the WeakAuras, like the Jailer Bomb Assignment 1, which on the Jailer fight would tell you what hole to jump in when you got the bomb. You know, so it's sitting there making decisions like that. There was, I
never used that.
We never used it. No, because we just kind of futzed around until we killed them.
Yeah.
You know, and just kind of.
Yeah, it didn't really matter for us because we weren't going for like any kind of world first and normal, you know?
Right. And most of this stuff comes out of Mythic anyway, because it's to.
Right.
It's to basically remove a variable from the fucking fight so that they can concentrate on just doing damage, which I think is silly.
You know what I think would be even better than Blizzard doing that? Maybe not making the fights so you need something to solve them in order to do that.
So this is
right?
It's an arms race against the people that do the add-ons and the people that design the raids, because they make raid mechanics that aren't the worst, right? That aren't like, you can do them, you just have to practice at doing them.
I mean,
but then people design add-ons to nullify it.
Some of those mechanics are very bad.
But
yes,
the whole reason this started was because people were making add-ons and stuff like that to make the fights like trivial. It would trivialize mechanics because all you do is you get the add-on, and you don't have to worry about it. Remember the ones that used to draw on the screen to tell you the path that the beams were going to take?
Yeah.
And all that kind of stuff. It's like it made those things trivial. And so they were trying to make it less trivial, especially on the mythic level.
So here's the thing. The race to world first is not anything that's endorsed by Blizzard.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Who gives a fuck what people do? Who cares? Who cares? If somebody wants to use an add-on to make their gameplay easier because it is a game, who cares? You know what I mean? Who cares?
The Blizzard developers.
Why do they care? Why do they care about it's not something that is, it's not something that they're endorsing for like the world first thing. It's not, who cares? If somebody wants to use something to make things more fun, I use the ones that are okay, like WeakAuras and stuff like that. I don't use any of the super cheaty ones, you know. But who cares? Who is it hurting?
apparently it hurts their feelings. The
Oh my God.
No, think about it, right? If you design something and then somebody comes along, it's like, why did I spend hours and hours and hours trying to design and come up with this fight for it to just be like dismantled and just and simplified and not.
And then you just break the add-on, right?
Well, that's what they're doing.
That's
what they're finally doing. They're finding a way now to do what they have. It's a private aura system, which means they don't want add-ons to be able to detect certain things, but still allow players to be able to customize basic aspects of the debuff, such as positioning or the icon. So it's not fully hidden, so you know it's there. You can still see the stuff, but you're not going to get any extra information.
Right.
And so...
And again, it's... Who cares?
Well, it's a way for certain people to... not ostracize, but like... gatekeep other people. Like if you try to pug and all that stuff and they're like, well, you have to have this, this, and this.
I mean,
you
just don't pug with those people. Right? Like,
but it creates it creates a sense in the majority of the player base that you need this or you're trash kind of thing, right?
I mean,
it's a psychological thing as much as it is.
If you need that, you're probably trash. You know what I mean? Like, come on now. Like if you're relying on a crutch like that.
Do you think the mythic raiding guilds are trash because they use these things?
No, I think
exactly.
But I also think that they are doing things severely undergeared, right? Like they're not going in there.
Again,
with the benefits of, weeks of Mythic Plus gear and, they're doing it.
Okay.
So I definitely don't think they're trash.
Yeah. But if the only reason they're doing it being undergeared is because they have an add-on that's basically making decisions for them, that kind of really...
I'm not talking about even the race for world. I mean, I say that because that's just the thing where, just showing that it's not endorsed. I don't think they should use it in the race for world first because it violates the spirit of the race.
That's the whole point. And
right?
So,
but for normal people who are not competing in the race for world first, you know what I mean? Like,
unfortunately...
It seems silly.
Unfortunately, the way this stuff works is it's trickle down, right? It's the top people that figure this stuff out, and then it slowly comes out and gets absorbed by the lower tier, people doing it, and then it becomes standardized, and it becomes a necessity. And so what they're trying to do now is they are trying to put in a system to where they can keep certain information locked behind whatever from the add-ons, but still allow enough so that it doesn't prevent you from relying on the default UI, right? Because that's kind of one of the examples they said. Because like if they didn't allow some information of it to come out, like so that you could do positioning and all that stuff, it just wouldn't show because you've replaced the default UI stuff for buffs or debuffs, right? So then now you can't display it. You don't know about it. So you'd have to switch back to the standard UI to do it. But they don't want to take away add-ons from people. They want to keep people from using add-ons in a way that trivializes things. So I don't know how long they've been working on it, but they're basically working on it in such a way that it doesn't make the regular use of it for customizing your UI and all that stuff, or giving you like little bouncing notifications and all that stuff. They still want that to be detectable and all that stuff, and it seems like they finally figured something out.
I mean, again, I don't know. It seems really like, I mean, if you want to, the way I see it, if you want to use add-ons to do that, who cares? It's not impacting anything. You're not getting any,
It's not botting, but it's cyborging.
Oh my God.
I don't know. I think people that do that are lazy. They don't want to think, and it really does, like, just kind of make it a hollow victory.
Sure, but if they're willing to accept a hollow victory, who am I to judge? I don't care.
Because then that means that hollow victories become the norm and accepted. So then that way you feel good for doing nothing.
Look at everybody who had like that ahead of the curve add-on to like, because ahead of the curve, people need to have ahead of the curve when you're going into Pug. I mean, even normal, right? So many people. Was it one
so you could fake linking it?
Yes.
But that's different, right? That's not making it so that the fight is easier. That's making it so that you're lying to people. You know what I mean? And it's just like, it's dumb to have that.
But it's what became the norm because people needed to have it so they could get into, I don't know.
That is stupid too. And honestly, the player base is stupid for thinking that these things are necessary.
Yeah.
It's like, just go in and fucking do it and practice it till you get it.
Well, that's hard with pugs because
it's hard with
you
pugs.
don't get it and people leave and
sure,
blah blah blah.
So find a guild, try to make friends. Try to actually take an MMO and socialize in it.
People don't have time to do that in their
well, I mean, then
in their lives.
Sorry.
I mean, it's
I mean, we managed to do all the stuff, doing it one night a week for a couple hours.
I mean, we do normal.
That's still something.
We're not gonna get heroic down in the time between.
Sure, but we also did
1 day.
But we also did it on the characters that we enjoy playing. We didn't bring a certain comp. We didn't stack it. We have some players that whatever, and we play at different levels. We had some people that were slightly higher than others because they do, gear wise, because they do some other higher end content and all that stuff. But we didn't actively seek it out. We didn't force anybody to have to do certain things to be able to go. We didn't say, it's like you have to do, your gear has to be 400 or higher. You have to do all these dungeons to, optimize your chances for gear. You have to level 4 characters of the same type so that we can do splits, so that whichever one gets your 4-piece first is the one we use. We didn't do any of that stuff, and that's, I don't know. It's just, I think that people that do that kind of stuff, they're not playing the game as a game. Like it's more work than it should be, and it's more serious than it should be. And I don't know. To me, I think I don't like that. I don't like that play style, which is why I just like our nice little guild where we just kind of just do things as they come, and yeah, there are some frustrating parts to it, but for the most part, it's like we get the job done. So
hoorah.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of backlash, and there's going to be you're going to hear shit from both sides, but in reality, it's not going to impact us.
Yeah.
And I mean, the fact that they're not just completely blocking things is good, which means that it may relax the difficulty level of raid mechanics. They may not be as overbearing or as complicated as some seem to be, so that people feel the need to do that.
Yeah, that's the part that bothers me. Is it's like, look at Molten Core. You had like 1 raid mechanic per boss.
And part of it, right, is they wanted to offer people more of a challenge. Well, then people took that challenge and wrote scripts and add-ons to bring it back down to a Molten Core level, right? So the only thing that they could do was either completely ban the add-ons, which they didn't want to do because you'd have a revolt in your hand, or try to design something a bit more complex that the add-ons couldn't keep up with or something so that they couldn't do that.
But do you see what they brought it back down to a molten core level because that's what people were happy with. People were happy with those mechanics. So they were doing stuff to make it so it was like a molten core level. So
I honestly think that, I don't know if it really, I don't know. I think when they put out this concept of world first type stuff and server first, because that was what, Lich King in the achievement system, like they actually had those in there.
Yeah, they had them before.
Right. But I mean, it was just kind of like, I don't know.
That's super unhealthy, by the way, to put those out there, right? Because you are tacitly telling people, if you want world first, you need to have unhealthy habits in order to get world first. And that's not great.
Even if they didn't put it out there, and this esport stuff got to where
people
it is,
would still
it would happen anyway.
But they're being rewarded for it instead of penalized for it. You know what I mean? Like they're getting positive reinforcement for doing these things that they shouldn't be getting positive reinforcement for because it's bad for them.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know, like who cares about your health? Whatever, it doesn't matter. You know, I don't know.
Blizzard combated it by putting the tips on the loading screen that says, "Go outside for a little bit.
Drink water.
Drink water. Yeah, hydrate."
Clearly, they're not to blame because they definitely put those. Tips in there.
It's not like it's required to hook up an IV and get injected with, heroin while you're playing the game to get that high, and that you get like those hits when you do things. You know what I mean? It's like anything that people enjoy, people are going to take to extremes.
Sure.
And it's just like.
But when you give them a reward for it, of course they're going to try to do it. And that reward was a prestige.
But the prestige was there anyway, with or without the announcement.
Not really, because
sure it was.
How are people going to know?
Because they post it. They post the logs and all that other stuff. They had ways of posting this stuff before that stuff was even there.
I mean, sure, but unless you're going looking for it, unless you care,
right? Which
I don't, then...
And honestly, I think most people don't care.
Yeah.
I think most people will look at it out of like, oh, okay. Like they'll watch it, but I think most people really just don't give a shit. There's people that do. There's people that are like...
There were certainly plenty of people. There were certainly plenty of people watching people do their world first race,
right?
Not world first race, world first streams.
Stuff. Yeah, and
on Twitch, like
that's also
that's
also kind of just the culture that exists now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. That's just how internet culture has evolved. It's like that's what people do. You watch people stream. You watch people try to do. Like speed runs, it's like when people try to beat, certain games under certain conditions for the leaderboards on that, it's like they have all different kinds of things. I mean, just look at how fucking crazy the whole fucking Donkey Kong high score shit was. It's like they made that movie more than a couple years ago, The King of Kong or whatever. And that fucking dude, Billy Mitchell, the guy that supposedly had all this stuff, he finally got all his shit thrown out. And he just files lawsuits against anybody that says anything about it, and he's suing
I don't even know
the company. He supposedly had the high score for Donkey Kong several times, and he was suing because the company that pretty much manages leaderboards and does all this stuff basically found inconsistencies and stuff like that with like the videotapes and stuff he sent in, stripped him of everything, and banned him from it.
Oh,
and so he's been suing them. Well. One of the high scores in question was a high score on a machine because, to have the high score, it has to be original hardware,
right?
Unmodified, and all that stuff. And one of them was at some convention, and it was like a real estate convention or something that happened to have a machine that somebody had there, and he did it there. And then finally, only recently did pictures surface from there. Somebody had taken some pictures of him standing in front of the referee, in front of the machine. And oh, look at that. The joystick. That's not original hardware. That's a different joystick. It's an 8-way directional joystick. The original one's only 4-way. So a directional joystick with 8 directions gives you a fucking unfair advantage.
Oh.
Therefore, that record should be stricken. And it was. It had already been stricken. And once you get caught cheating, you're fucking out.
Right.
So, I mean, it's just fucking funny that this kind of shit exists. And people like drama. People like, people watch sports for the same reason they watch the world first shit, because they want to see their team win. So people latch on to a guild for whatever reason, because they like somebody that streams in it or whatever, and they watch it hoping that they'll get it, and it's exciting to them. And I don't find it exciting. I don't find hours and hours and hours of watching somebody play for hours and hours and hours just to get that little bit of an edge so that they can get these bosses down. It's like, it's a lot of work. I would rather do it over a longer period of time, instead of within a week, take some time, enjoy the fucking game, because
I wish that they didn't have ahead of the curve and cutting edge. I'm sure that's probably going to be an unpopular opinion, but I wish that as long as you're doing it in the expansion, that you should get credit for doing it or whatever. I hate this timed bullshit.
Well, if they were to take it, and the only problem with the time thing is that when the new stuff comes out, you get the power level rise, because people want new rewards, so they want higher stuff.
So you kind of have the people aren't doing it anyway because they're going to get those rewards, the new ones, instead of the instead of the old ones. So it's like somebody is probably just going back and doing it just for completion and not for,
I don't know,
the gear.
I don't care either way. I don't have him. I don't have a lot of those things, so it is what it is. Right? People are gonna whatever. I mean, they have their opinion about it, and it's their game. So you could write a strongly worded letter.
Thanks.
You could apply to be on the community council.
Oh no, I will not do that. I don't care.
Still never heard back from them.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't care. Are you?
Am I what?
I don't know, Brian. You haven't said anything. Do you have any thoughts on that, or any of the stuff that?
No, not at all.
I mean, you're talking about the guy that raged for a month max before he stops playing. I'm sorry, 2 months. Is that a better?
I don't know.
I mean,
man.
If Brian,
this sounds like some llama drama. So,
jeez,
I just think it's interesting. And I think it is going to cause some drama in certain circles. I don't care one way or the other. I don't use WeakAuras, so it'll affect other add-ons, I'm sure. But
I mean, I don't know how
it'll affect DBM, obviously.
They probably have all of the client side hooks there, right, for a lot of what they do in the first place, right? And so unless they plan on banning or removing, rather, the API access of the client side stuff, right? They either do that or they don't, Well, and so,
I mean,
I on one side, I don't know. When you develop for shit like that, and they remove a part of the surface, it just is what it is. That's the game you play, right? So even if people rely on it or not,
I don't think I don't think they're touching anything that exists. I think going forward, they're expanding the API stuff, and they're adding a new set of spells that they call private auras. So going forward, when that patch comes out, there'll be an update to the API that will still allow you to access certain things, but some certain spells won't be able to be handled the same way that they are now. Like he won't be able to get certain information and do the radar or all that kind of, stuff like that. So I think it's a going forward thing. I don't think it's like they're removing existing stuff. So.
Well, even if they're not just literally removing things, they're still shrinking the API service itself. So, like not being able to even grossly assume things based on what they can see will disable features of add-ons. So, like, but again, that's the game that they play, right? Like, so I don't know. I mean, obviously, I guess it doesn't really bother me or affect me all that much, so I guess I don't really care. But I also, I don't know. I mean, I don't have sympathy for anybody that fully relies on a whole host of shit to get anything done anyways. I mean, we've used DBM and the other one,
WeakAuras,
for such a long, not WeakAuras, the boss stuff.
Oh, bigwigs.
For so long.
DBM and bigwigs. Yeah.
Like for so long. And it's just like it literally is a part of the game you fucking play. And honestly, like I mean, I just got tired of it a long time ago.
See, for me, it's the fact that we have to rely on those things that it causes the problem, right? If there weren't so many things to keep track of in WoW, we wouldn't need WeakAuras. But there's a bazillion things to keep track of in WoW.
But it also isn't just
it's not even
Blizzard's fault
to keep track of. There should be tons of stuff going on. That's great. It all boils down to the forgiveness of the fight. Yeah, right? When it's so brittle that a fucking 10-minute fight can end with one silly mistake, then yes, you need precision. Because otherwise people are just going to get pissed off and walk away. Yeah. Oh, that's what they need to fucking fix.
Well, it's a feedback loop, right? They're not just making it harder like that just to be dicks. They're making it harder to try and compensate for people making it too easy with the add-ons. They don't want automation in the fights. And so when you get add-ons that find a way to automate certain things, well, that type of mechanic is gone now as in the future because they've already found a way to automate it, which invalidates it and makes it useless as a whatever.
But it's a difference if they're reacting versus being proactive. Right? If they're going to react to the way that add-ons are today, they're going to continue to follow that path over and over and over unless they cut it off completely.
Right.
And even then, they're going to be in the same spot that you guys were talking about the other day about Final Fantasy, right? Where there's now this dark market of add-on stuff going on.
Yeah.
So why be there? Rather, like, be proactive about it, and then, there's got to be a different way, right? Well, not the whole game does not have to be fucking predictable. Stop being predictable. That'll solve half the problems.
God, people would lose their shit if they made fucking mechanics random. People would
aren't they random? So much... Like, I know Final Fantasy, they're not. They're very scripted. But aren't there like random things? These encounters aren't the same every single time, are they? Like they have different. Okay. There's RNG elements where two mechanics can happen at the same time or whatever, and they're two different things. Like, don't you remember the Ashara fight where different things went out on different people? So I guess that's what made them more.
The target was random. What was happening was not.
Right.
So, in a sense, things do happen on a timer. Or things happen when certain conditions are met. Like if you take too much damage, or like if the boss hits a certain HP level, right, it's going to trigger something to happen. So you can tell what's going to happen. So the fights are fairly predictable. But I think what they're doing with this change is they're trying a different route. Rather than just make the mechanics harder and make them require more precision, they're trying to make it so that certain spells or mechanics and stuff like that have parts that are available to the add-on for normal add-on things, but the main parts of it that could potentially be automated to trivialize are not. So it's almost like a new class of auras that are being added and stuff. So they're adding, some CVAR stuff or some stuff to the code to give you anchor points and all that stuff. So you can still put them on, they can still show up in your debuffs and all that kind of stuff, or whatever the hell it is. They can show up, and so you can know about them in the add-ons, but key components of it that could be exploited in a way to trivialize the mechanic itself are being encrypted, hidden, whatever, privatized. So they're trying to find a way to best of both worlds, right? Make it so that you can't predict things like telling you what hole to jump in versus not being able to know that you even have the fucking bomb, right? So I think they're trying a different approach to this as opposed to just trying to make it more difficult, and because they don't want to remove the ability for add-ons, and maybe because people have come to expect a certain type of fight. Fights are going to have these types of things. So having a timer on DBM and knowing that something is coming is different than having an add-on, a weak aura that says, stand on this mark. It's like reading the timer and all that stuff and saying, okay, you got this thing, go stand here. Rather, it's coming up.
You can just do that with practice. You know what I mean?
And I think that that's kind of what they're trying to get back to is, it's like you can't just have something developed, because especially since they put these things out on the fucking PTR and do raid testing and all that stuff.
Well, and that's the thing. They shouldn't do that. They shouldn't be raid testing this shit. They should be raid testing this shit in-house, and it should drop, and everybody, they should not do that. Like, it drives me nuts that they do that, because it's then everybody who, that's why they invite all the people, all the people who are world first people to play beta and to play, blah, blah,
and
blah.
And they can go on the PTR and test it. And I do think that gives people time to go in, check the stuff.
Figure out strategies.
I mean, I get what they're trying to do, right? It's like, if you want, because the people that play test it for Blizzard, that are Blizzard employees, don't necessarily play at the same level that these other people do, because they actually have work to do, maybe. I don't know.
Well, you have a dedicated team. Like, Final Fantasy has a dedicated team for it. They had all of their testing is done in-house.
Sure, but they're still,
and they all can beat the stuff without add-ons.
I'm sure they have a level of testing inside. I mean, obviously it's not going to be to the point where they're going to farm out tons of freebies, right?
But I mean, it's just like,
to get pretty more accurate feedback.
Well, the problem is there's so many mechanics involved, and we have so many classes and so many interactions that they probably don't have, they can't have everybody one of every class and in all of the raids. And
it's time consuming. So they're just trying to get more data points and all that stuff. But it makes it easy for them to get in and develop these things so that when it goes live, they've already got an advantage. They've already got the add-ons that are going to tell them what to fucking do.
Oh, yeah. The first thing you do, you download the Weak Aura for all the raid buffs or the raid debuffs before, for Weak Auras, before you even step foot into the raid.
Yeah.
So that way, shit tells you when
this seems to be trying a different approach to see if they can, because this would, if this works and they can find a way to, without impacting add-ons and just removing them completely, this could, stop the feedback loop of it, of things just, it's a different tactic is all. And it could work, it could not work. I don't know. They're doing a lot of things, this expansion, that are new systems. A lot of it's trial and error, and
it just feels like they're making the raids, they're focusing so much on getting new people to play the game that they're not, you know what I mean, worried about keeping the old people who are playing the game. You know what I mean? Like
that's because old people die.
And young people just live forever.
Well, no, you'll always have a fresh crop of young people.
Sure.
But the old players, that's a limited supply. So we're like a fine wine.
Yeah. It's
aged
just frustrating.
To perfection.
You know.
It is frustrating.
It's frustrating.
And it's like, I get it. It's not the best solution, but I mean, hopefully this can alleviate some of that, and maybe, we probably won't see a damn bit of difference.
Yeah.
Or anything.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll see some interesting mechanics that have, more forgiving qualities to them, because they can't be automated, so they can be made a little bit less deadly.
Yeah, it does feel bad when you're reliant on one person. Like, there were a couple of raid tiers when we raided where it was like, okay, let's just hope that so-and-so doesn't get this mechanic. You know what I mean? Let's hope that the right people get the mechanic so we can progress past this phase,
Yeah.
Which sucks.
It's like
when it's a limiter like that.
That's a different thing altogether, right? And that's something that when you have mechanics that get put on random people, you're obviously going to, especially if you're playing with people at different skill levels, right?
Sure.
You're going to have the people that they get the mechanic, they know exactly what to fucking do, and they do it. And you're going to get the people that get it, and they're going to be like, most of the time they'll be all right. But if like things are kind of going,
sometimes people need a little bit more time learning the mechanic, right? I mean, that's not a bad thing. Sometimes it takes me, depends on the mechanic. Sometimes it takes me a while to be like, oh shit, this is what I'm supposed to be doing with this.
But I think that too gives a person a sense of accomplishment, right? To be like, man, I remember this thing. I used to always hate it and could never do it, and then we just kept doing it, and all of a sudden,
Frogger. Now I can zoom through Frogger.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? It's just like certain mechanics. It's like, man, that was really getting us and stuff like that. It's like the Razageth fight where you have to split on the one platform, where you have to stand with the same people. It's like we were having problems with that. So it's like, okay, turn on your speech bubbles. You'll see the thing above your head. We'll put markers down. Go stand on that marker.
Oh, yeah, that was helpful.
Yeah, it's like,
yeah,
and it's part of that's DBM, notifying you that you have a certain debuff.
And again, that goes to
that's not something that this would stop, because you would know you have the debuff.
No, I know. But again, that's the thing that goes to the UI kind of sucks. You have to turn on speech bubbles to see it. You know what I mean? Like, it's lacking in some regard if you have to do something outside of what you normally have to do in order to see the mechanic. It
does put a thing over your head, but depending on your play style and depending on how far you're zoomed out or zoomed in or whatever,
it does. You're right. It's the same thing for like it's the same thing as the thundering stuff that goes over your head.
There are visual cues.
Yeah.
But they're not the best. Yeah. And I think they even changed them after a while.
Did they?
They updated them to make them a bit more
I just used the speech
visible.
Bubbles now.
I've always had speech bubbles on, so like I never really could see it because like I got a speech bubble above my head. So I'm just like I just use that,
But it does make it easier,
It makes it more visible. It
makes it easier.
If the ball lightning and the whirlwind thing for those mechanics were neon colored or something like that, or more brightly colored and distinguishable, it'd be a lot easier.
Yeah.
But
they definitely have a habit of coloring things poorly. And I'm sure it's to make things more difficult. Like, think about the colors of even thinking Court of Stars, right? The very purple area on the last boss, and we've got the teeny tiny little purple ley line things you have to stay out of.
It used to be like little gray smoke clouds that were really hard to see. Now they're like purple and they stand out. They stand out so much more. They stand out
better than they did, but it's still not the best, you know? Yeah. And they do that in a lot of things. It's not just
But that's something
that's just
that...
the one that I'm thinking of.
That's something that they did update because it was a problem.
Right.
Because it kind of came back because it was in the Mythic pool. So they made changes. They did something to another one, too.
Can I just say, I really hope they change Brackenhide for the better when it goes into the Mythic Plus rotation, because holy shit, as of right now, what a shitty dungeon that is going to be for trying to time shit. Like, holy crap. What a shitty dungeon. Like, it's so bad. Like, I just did it on normal last night. And sure, I was soloing it to try to,
as a bear.
Yeah, as a bear.
So,
and that was fine. It was perfectly fine until the last boss and whatever. But anyway, it was still, I was a druid, so I was obviously trying to stealth around things to try to save myself some time, and that really didn't work out well. But there's that one area where it's the gauntlet. Holy crap, is that going to be effing terrible? Because shit just keeps spawning. Your healers aren't going to be able to stop to, like, heal. Or not stop to heal, stop to drink.
I think if you have a full party, it won't be that bad.
Maybe.
But I think we're getting pretty close to time to wrap things up.
Oh, my goodness.
Brian, you got anything you want to throw in? I don't know how much you've been playing. You probably have been busy.
None. I've played none.
I'm sorry. I miss you.
All right. I've been playing Diablo a little bit, but then I think I'm done with that too. No. Diablo 3.
Yeah. So starting tomorrow, St. Patrick's Day, there's like a beta weekend. So
for Diablo 4.
Diablo 4, yeah.
I'm interested to see how much of it is pay to win or cash shop stuff.
Well, it's not immortal, so we'll see.
But think about how they always talk about how they put things in and iterate on them. Like, think about like the things that they put in before, and then they try to use it as a basis for going forward for stuff. Now think about Diablo Immortal.
It was also a mobile game, so it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different ecosystem.
Oh,
for that
like
kind of
Arc Like Rumble? It's going to be a mobile game?
When's that coming out?
So I imagine how much stuff is going to be in that. That's, you know, how...
Are you guys looking forward to that?
Arc Like Rumble.
Arc Like Rumble. Look at your app store. Sign up for the beta. Get notifications when it comes to beta. It's coming out soon.
Coming out soon.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody that's listening. I think we lost the part where we said to tell a friend, share this with people that you play with. If you're
spicy about anything, you know, like...
Yeah, feel free to tell me how much of an idiot I am for my opinions, because I feel that I hold some...
polarizing?
Sure. That's a good word for it.
I've been spending too much time in anatomy and physiology.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for listening. You can check us out at facebook.com/server restartin. You can shoot us a tweet with anything you want.
Anything
related to World of Warcraft.
We may or may not see it.
Yeah. At @server_restart. I will see it. And then we'll catch you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.